good morning or good afternoon. This is Margie Taylor, and we are on EMC News on Lone Star Community Radio from downtown Conroe. And we're recording live right now. I'm your host, Margie Taylor, and we hope to give you some good information that you may not have been aware about from East Montgomery County, Porter, New Caney, Splendora. Tell you about some local happenings that are going on in that area with the chamber, with some of the local businesses that serve East Montgomery County, the nonprofits. And so we hope you listen in today and every Monday at noon to learn more on Lone Star Community Radio. Today we welcome County Judge Craig Doyal on the show to talk about tax rate cuts, the county budget, road improvements, and anything else that we want to know about new development in East Montgomery County. But before we talk to County Judge Craig Doyal, we're going to talk a little bit about things that happened in the last week. So the Porter Spartans squashed Caney Creek Friday evening at Texan Drive Stadium. The New Caney Eagles dominated the Splendora Wildcats 24-32, but it was a good game. And that happened Thursday night at Texan Stadium. Splendora has the home advantage this Friday night against the Mount Bellevue group at 7 p.m. New Caney plays the Humble Wildcats at Turner Stadium, and the Porter Spartans take on Dayton in an away game also at 7 p.m. If you haven't heard, Rachel's Challenge is a community rally going on Wednesday, October 5th at the Splendora High School Gymnasium. They are hoping to have a packed house, and they are also serving food, refreshments, things like that. What it is a rally to promote a safe environment where bullying and violence are replaced with kindness and respect. What a concept. The event starts at 6:30. And it's hosted by Rachel Scott. She's an ambassador of kindness, previewing videos to start a chain reaction of kindness. It is based on the life and writings of Rachel Joy Scott, who was the first victim of the Columbine school shootings in 1999. So this program will provide students, teachers, and the community the tools needed to promote kindness and respect, which lessens bullying and violence. I think we can all learn about being kind to each other. They are even starting a kindness chain by writing on a piece of paper an act of kindness they did for someone else. This inspired a chain of kind acts showing that one act of kindness can lead to other acts of kindness. The Texas Sawmill Festival, which we talked about last Monday, and we talked to the gentleman who coordinated all the competitors to come from 8 different states, was held last Saturday. And the previews of what was going on were on the KHOU Morning News Wednesday with both Porter and New Caney High School bands there at 5 a.m. I have never seen so many teenagers up at 5 a.m. It was outstanding. And then Chip Brewster came out at 11 a.m. Friday for the 11:30 news, and also we did a recording for the 4 and 5 p.m. show. So we got some good coverage of things that are going on in East Montgomery County. The turnout for the festival was spectacular. Both Fishtails, donating funds to New Caney ISD Education Foundation, and Longhorn Steakhouse, donating funds to Mission Northeast, ran out of food. So that's good news for the nonprofits. Vendors were happy to be inside, although the weather was simply beautiful. It was a great October 1st day. And we also had the first ever Lumberjack Championships, and it was so much fun to watch. They climbed 50-foot timber poles and chopped wood as they climbed. They did log rolling with 2 people on the logs to see who would fall in the water first. And, of course, there was $25,000 up for grabs for these competitors. And the kids weren't left out because there were tractor races. And those tractors were donated by Lansdowne Moody of Splendora. So it was fun for all at the Texas Sawmill Festival. National Night Out is coming Tuesday, October 4th, which happens to be tomorrow night. And many communities are planning activities throughout the Montgomery County area. But the East Montgomery County Fire Department and the East Montgomery County Firefighters Association invite the public to come eat hot dogs, visit the firefighters, play in the moonwalk, and tour the renovated station from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Splendora location on Old Highway 59 in Splendora. Roman Forest will also have their annual spaghetti supper to raise funds for the fireworks show they put on every year on the 4th of July. So, the Grand Texas Theme Park is moving along as well. The RV sites are finished, and it looks like they have about 50% occupancy right now. They have their clubhouse, private parties. If you want to plan a Christmas party, they are open to that. And they're right next to the Speed Sports Racing Park, which is still slated to open in November. We look forward to that, especially those little carts going 85 miles per hour. Come out there with your corporate team and do some team building in a fun way. And did you know, I mentioned this last week, but just for emphasis, did you know that the 1,400-acre community development of Valley Ranch is going to be 1.5 million square feet, which is larger than the Woodlands Mall, and that they are building an amphitheater larger than the Cynthia Woods Pavilion? Bam. Yes, we have it going on in East Montgomery County. So today, Monday, October 3rd, is the 13th annual Luncheon and Style Show to benefit Mission Northeast. So if you're listening right now, you're probably not at her luncheon. So hopefully they're getting a great turnout because they serve nearly 20,000 individuals annually with food, clothing, job assistance, housewares, utility assistance, and holiday food baskets. So I hope she has a great turnout at Mission Northeast. Also tonight is the Concerned Citizens meeting at 7:30 at the Tullis Library in New Caney. The public is welcome, as always, and encouraged to attend. 2 days from now, Wednesday, October 5th, is the monthly luncheon at the EMC building with the Greater East Montgomery County Chamber. Their guest this time is Noel Cardenas. He's the Vice President of Operations from Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital. You can sign up at the Greater East Montgomery County Chamber website to attend. And that is from 11:30 to 1 on Wednesday at the EMC building. So this Saturday is Heavy Trash Day, October 8th. And that's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 4 locations. It's going to be at the Community Development Center on 1st Street in Splendora, at the Precinct 4 offices on Roberts Road in New Caney, at the Porter Fire Station on FM 1314, in the Old Grangerland Community Building. Things you cannot bring, are tires, but you can bring furniture, boats. You're going to donate boats? Interesting. Motorized equipment, exercise equipment, appliances, things that your local trash people can't take that are too big. This is for Heavy Trash Day, 8 to 2 p.m. this Saturday, October 8th. And Light the Night kickoff dinner is October 15th at the Westin in the Woodlands. And this is a county-wide event with the pre-party and social event benefiting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which precedes the Light the Night walk. So EMC News is an hour-long show, Mondays from noon to 1, and we will be right back. I am Margie Taylor, and we will be right back with County Judge Craig Doyal.
EMC News, your local news from EMC every Monday at noon on Lone Star Community Radio.
When medical emergencies happen, trust your best neighbors ever for extraordinary emergency care from board-certified physicians. Neighbors Emergency Center is making lives better by providing exceptional medical care for you and your family, 24/7, 365 days a year, with little to no wait time. With Montgomery County locations in Porter and Kingwood, Neighbors Emergency Center is there for you. For more information on Neighbors Emergency Centers, please visit them online at nec24.com.
Want to know what's happening in East County? You're listening to EMC News on Lone Star Community Radio.
Hello, this is Margie Taylor, and we are back on EMC News with my guest today, County Judge Craig Doyal.
Good afternoon, Margie.
Hey, how's your Monday going?
It's hope there's only one Monday this week. That'll be a great thing.
Okay, that's very true. Very optimistic. So what I want to do is kind of go over what you do, what your job responsibilities are, because a lot of people don't know exactly what a county judge does. Sure. And then we'll talk more about specific things and your role in East Montgomery County and things like that. So you are the administrator for the county, more or less.
Correct. I'm the CEO of Montgomery County. Really is probably the best way to describe it. It's funny because people ask me all the time, are you an attorney? I didn't know you were an attorney. Well, I'm not an attorney, because when people hear the title judge, they think of a judge that performs judicial functions and hearing court cases and things like that. The title judge is there because I preside over the Commissioner's Court. And the Commissioner's Court is the administrative body of Montgomery County. The court sets the tax rate, sets the budget for all the county departments, sets all county policies and procedures, all of our guidelines, all of our contracts are ratified through Commissioner's Court. All of the business of Montgomery County comes through Commissioner's Court. Now, as judge, also I'm the Director of Emergency Management. So when we have an emergency like the two floods we had back in April and May, our office kicks into place there, and we work with our emergency management personnel to make sure all issues are covered. We handle indigent burials for the county. It's one of those things you don't really think about.
Tell me about that.
Well, if someone passes away in Montgomery County that is indigent, that is homeless, well, we take care of those burials for those individuals.
I didn't know that.
Those kind of things that a lot of people don't realize that have to be taken care of, and that's one of the functions of my office. So there's a lot of administrative work that is taking place in the county judge's office, not necessarily court cases like you'd think normally a judge would hear.
So speaking of that, you preside over Commissioner's Court, which tomorrow morning you have Commissioner's Court, and you have that every 2 weeks on Tuesday, correct?
Correct. We have every other Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. we have Commissioner's Court, and I would certainly invite anyone that has not been to Commissioner's Court to come. It can be the most boring hour and a half you'll ever spend, or the best,
sometimes longer,
or the best free show in town, and sometimes longer. Yeah, it depends on what's on the agenda. So there's always, but it's good to see your county government in operation and see what some of the processes are and see how your tax dollars are being used.
So what if somebody wanted to participate and not just listen, but if they had something they wanted to talk about and be a part of the agenda, what is the process for doing that?
That's a great question. We have two citizens comment sections on the agenda. The first one will allow citizens to make a 3-minute comment on an item that's on that agenda for that day. That way, we can kind of keep that to a minimum for items that are going to be heard that particular day. We'll allow people to sign up. We prefer they sign up before court in my office, but if they don't, we'll recognize people that would like to make a comment, give them 3 minutes to make their comment, and then the court can't address that comment. We can't respond or react or take action on their comment, but we can hear those comments. At the end of the agenda, we have another citizens comment segment where people can address the court on issues that aren't on that day's agenda. That way, people that are there to address issues for the agenda can be there. We'll take care of business, and those department heads or county employees that need to get back to their departments can go, and then we will listen to citizens that would like to make comments on items not on the agenda that day.
So if somebody wanted to make a comment on something not on the agenda, would you say they need to come to the whole thing that starts in the morning or come towards the end, or is it really just hard to evaluate?
It's hard to say. I would say come toward the end, but you never really know when the end is. That's the problem.
And sometimes there's lots of really interesting things going on in court.
Yeah, sometimes the agendas, there's a lot of discussion and there's a lot of issues that come up, and the agenda gets kind of elongated.
Sure.
Sometimes it goes very quickly. So we start at 9:30. We're usually through by 11 o'clock. It's a long court agenda if we're there till 11:30, but I've seen some go past noon.
So is the agenda and all of the minutes from the meetings, are they on the MCTX website?
Yes, you can go to mctx.org and you can see the agenda for upcoming meetings and the minutes from our previous meetings as well.
And residents are encouraged to do that so they know what's going on.
Most certainly.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's great information. So do you have any responsibilities outside of the court that you do and the indigent? Are there other things that you're responsible for, or what do you do getting around in the community? How do you know what's going on?
Well, I spend a lot of time working with other department heads and finding out what their needs are. For example, we had our forensic pathologist recently retired. So one of my jobs was to go out and find another forensic pathologist. Now, I don't know a lot about that, so you've got to be able to kind of learn.
So you have
on
to
your
rely
feet.
on other people, experts.
Most definitely. And I do that a lot we have some really, really, really talented people in Montgomery County. A lot of the department heads, a lot of the other elected officials are very, very good at their jobs. And so there's always a resource for information that I can go to help get answers to questions that we need to address during court. Recently we had the ribbon cutting at our airport, our new customs facility. I think maybe you want to talk about that.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that too
in a minute. I spend a lot of time out in the public trying to get information out to different organizations and groups so they know how county government functions. Spend a lot of time working with our department heads, making sure that they have the tools and the funding that they need to provide the best job that we can for the citizens of Montgomery County at the least possible cost.
Well, that's a big job. You have a lot of things,
a lot of administration
going on. And, that's true of anybody in a CEO position, that you can't walk and do everything yourself. You cannot possibly touch everything. And especially when you're managing the entire county, you have to rely on the different segments, not just the commissioners, but the heads of different departments and things like that, so that it all comes together and you can make sound decisions.
Sure. We count on our engineer's office. They do a great job reviewing plats for development. I'm not going to go tell them how to do their job. They're very good at it. We have, Sheriff's Department and our Constable's office that do a great job of providing law enforcement. We try to do everything we can to help them to enhance that opportunity. But I'm not about to tell the sheriff or a constable how to perform his job as a law enforcement officer. But we certainly want to try to back them up as much as we can.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the road bond. That was a big election that happened. It'll be a year coming up in November.
Right.
And that passed. So there's a lot of progress going on in all the different areas of the county. And I know that you don't have your hands necessarily on top of each area, like in Precinct 1, 2, 3, and, in particular Precinct 4 for East Montgomery County. That would be that individual commissioner, like Jim Clark in this area. Mm-hmm. But you can tell me that there is progress going on, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We sold the first round. We approved $280 million worth of bonds. Of course, we didn't sell all $280 million initially. We just sold $60 million last year. And the commissioners each got some of those dollars to begin their process of starting the projects that they had on their list. There's 76 projects on that list. You can go to mctx.org and make a link to bond projects, and you can see that's an interactive site that keeps as updated as often as we can, so that people can see exactly what the process, what
they voted for and how it's working.
Yeah, what they voted for, and where they are on those projects within their area.
So if somebody wanted to see if there was progress going on say, Highway 242, they could look on there and see, no, it hasn't started yet, or
Correct.
frontage road,
Correct.
access, any of these things.
Correct. Either that or contact the commissioner in each of those precincts. They're really on top of those projects and got a lot of great opportunities now because of that bond issue to start to address some of the mobility needs.
Well, another thing they can do is go to the Concerned Citizens meeting, which is
Citizens.
tonight,
Right.
as a matter of fact, because I believe Commissioner Clark is generally there, and the Sheriff's Department is there, and different ones, all of our community leaders, so they can ask those questions.
For information in East Montgomery County, that is a great resource because you'll see elected officials and people involved with the fire departments, with the constable's office, sheriff's department, all forms of government.
Leaders.
Yeah, they're giving an update, and so you get a real good idea of what's going on in East Montgomery County.
I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about the budget. Didn't you all just start a new budget period?
Yes, October 1st was the first day of our new budget. This budget this year was $347.9 million, $348 million. It's about a 4.8% increase over last year's budget, which I think is really conservative because population and inflation was about 4.6%. So we're right at that balance of growth in our budget to match population and inflation growth. We saw an opportunity. We put $8 million this year into a capital fund. Last year we were able to put about $13 million into that capital fund to begin to address issues that we know are coming up, issues like an expansion at our jail. We've got a capital fund out there that we're starting to put money into in preparation for that. We're building a sheriff's substation in South County right now. We're moving a radio tower that we're able to fund with that capital account and not have to issue debt to address those major issues.
Tell me about the debt.
The debt in Montgomery County, we service all of our debt in Montgomery County with about 7.25% of our revenue. That is, I wish I could do that at home. We do a real good job at trying to manage in a rapidly growing county, as it would be in a rapidly growing home or a rapidly growing business. In Montgomery County, we've had to finance some of our operations, the road bond issue, of course, being the obvious one, to address a lot of those needs. But we try to minimize the amount of debt that we issue. And that was the idea that we had in beginning this capital fund. Last year was the first year we were able to set dollars aside in that fund at $13 million, this year at $8 million, to try to eliminate as much debt as possible. Now, that's $21 million. That won't touch what we need to do in terms of the overall need for mobility. That's why we had a $280 million bond issue. But it will begin to address some of the capital needs for buildings and things like that at the county level.
So it's almost like a savings plan for the future.
Yeah, because we know that there's going to be growth issues out there. And instead of just sitting back
Without
and waiting for that to hit and then having to issue debt to cover it, we're trying to get ahead of that curve in more of a pay-as-you-go plan in building that capital fund so that we're prepared when that need does arise.
And preparation is very important.
Always.
Especially when you're at the top administrator with the county funds. I mean, you've got to be prepared for any growth.
You have to be looking 5, 10, 20 years out. I was riding with my dad the other day. We were going down 105. Just before 105 goes under I-45 if you're heading west out of Conroe, before you cross the creek there, just past McDonald's. And he said, when I was a kid, there was a barricade right here. This is where 105 ended, right here. There was no I-45, and that was the end of 105. That wasn't that long ago. Think about what Montgomery County will look like. Exactly. What it will look like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now. We have to be preparing today for some of that growth.
You grew up out here.
I did.
So it's made a lot of changes.
A lot of change. I'm fourth generation. Grew up. My dad was born in a house 2 blocks from my office. And so I've watched this county grow in all 4 quadrants, north, south, east, and west. And it's the east side of Montgomery County along that 59 corridor today is changing. It'll be different when you go home today than it was when you left this morning.
I'm sure. I mean, even having 99 there now, the tollway has really changed things a lot. And the new shopping center, I mean, there's lots of new business coming out that direction that
Absolutely.
People think East County is so far from Conroe, but it's actually the same distance to go from, say, Splendora to downtown Conroe as it is from Walden on 105 to Conroe. It's the same distance.
Wow.
Actually, it takes a shorter amount of time, probably.
I didn't realize that. That's
it's 21 miles.
Yeah.
There you go. We each learned something. So we're going to be right back here in a few minutes, and I am Margie Taylor on EMC News. We'll be back with County Judge Craig Doyal and learn more about things going on in East Montgomery County, a little bit about the airport that's going on out here locally, and hope you're listening in.
Stay tuned to the EMC News Hour with your host, Margie Taylor.
Animals of all shapes and sizes are welcomed at Big Thicket Vet in New Caney with vet services like extensive health exams, vaccinations, heartworm, tick, flea prevention, along with experienced and trustworthy emergency and urgent care. For more information on Big Thicket Vet in New Caney, visit bigthicketvetnc.com or locally at 18403 FM 1485 in New Caney, Texas.
Stay tuned to the EMC News Hour with your host, Margie Taylor.
Hello, this is Margie Taylor, your host for EMC News. And I forgot to mention this, but the first half of EMC News is sponsored by Neighbors Emergency Clinic, who we had Claire King on the show here last Monday. So, they're located off of 59, close to Porter, and you want to go there when any emergency happens because they are open 24/7, 354 days of the year with no wait. They can get you in there within 10 minutes. So we are back here with County Judge Craig Doyal, and we were talking about budgets. So what I want to ask you, sir, how is the federal government different from how local government is run?
Daylight and dark.
And what does that mean?
Well, when you look at a comparison, Margie, if you think about at the federal level, we spend approximately $12,100 per person annually to fund our federal government. Now, that's a lot of money. At the state level, it's about $3,800 per capita annually to fund state government. For example, the city of Conroe is almost $2,300 per person. The Woodlands Township is about $1,100 per person. In Montgomery County, we spend about $600 per person to fund the operations of Montgomery County. Now, what does that mean?
That's a great buy.
It's a great buy. Let me kind of put this in perspective that helps me to understand it. It's $600 a person. That's $50 per person per month to fund county government. Now, I want you to think about what you can get for $50 a month. I mean, you're hard-pressed to get a cell phone for $50 a month.
True.
Cable TV with internet access for $50 a month. Water, sewer, and garbage pickup for $50 a month. The gym membership you can't get for $50 a month. But for $50 a month in Montgomery County services, what you do get is the 7th largest sheriff's department in the state of Texas, 5 JPs, 5 constables, 5 county courts at law, 7 district courts, the county attorney, district attorney, county clerk, district clerk, adult and juvenile probation, veteran services, animal control, mosquito control, the convention and expo center, the airport, libraries, parks, our road and bridge departments, debt service on the debt we do carry, and a balanced budget every single year. That's a big difference.
So we're getting value.
We're getting value for the dollar we ask people to spend. I have to think about, I have my mom and dad are on a fixed income. I have a daughter that's a single mom. My wife and I pay taxes like everybody else. So I think about every vote I cast, how it affects each and every person and the value that they're going to get for those dollars. That's why this year, again, we dropped our tax rate 1 cent. Over the last 10 years, we've seen 5 different tax reductions in Montgomery County. And I'm proud of the fact that we were able to reduce taxes by a penny. Our appraisals going up? Sure they are. Absolutely. That's what we would all want our home values to rise. But that's putting a real bind on the taxpayers. And we're cognizant of that. Now, we still have to meet the service requirements. We still have to provide fuel for those sheriff's department vehicles. We still have to provide for those prisoners that are in the jail. We still have to run the courts. We still have to pave roads and spray for mosquitoes and do all the things that we have to do. But we try to make those dollars that we ask each and every taxpayer to give to the county a dollar that they get value for. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. I think we've done a real good job of that.
That puts it in great perspective when you say it that way so that people really understand, including myself, and how you can remember all those entities.
That's what I do. That's what I do every day.
That's your job. So that's pretty interesting. So anything else about budgeting or anything that you wanted to let our listeners know about?
No, we just, we added a little bit. Like I said, we put some money in the in our capital fund. We put about $1.6 million we added this last year to the commissioners' budgets, across the 4 of them to try to address some of the needs in our aging infrastructure that's out there. We added $2.4 million into our debt service fund balance so that as our pass-through programs begin to reduce with TxDOT, we can have those dollars there to make sure that we're in a position where we can fund all of our debt. Our retirement system is about 88% funded. You hear about a lot of entities where they get in trouble where their retirement systems are only funded at 25 or 30%. We're at 88%. We're in great sound financial shape. High credit ratings with Standard & Poor's and Moody's and the other agencies. Our bond rating is great. We added about 12 new positions for law enforcement in this last year's budget. It was a very effective budget, I think.
Well, very good. I think that's great information for people to know about. So another thing that you should be very proud of is the new airport customs facility.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Now, they just had a ribbon cutting, too. Wasn't it like last week or the week before?
Okay.
Okay. So that allows for international flights to come directly into Conroe, and when does that take effect?
They'd already had, I think, 4 flights clear customs before we had the ribbon cutting. Now, about 3 years ago, we opened the new tower, the new control tower. Last year, we had a ribbon cutting on the extension of one of our runways. Our longest runway at the Conroe North Houston Regional Airport is 100 feet short of the longest runway at Hobby.
Really?
And so now we can land the largest corporate jets that fly and get them out on a hot summer day with a full load of fuel, which in the past was impossible to do because of the length of the runway. We can now do that. The taxiways aren't substantial enough to hold up big, heavy commercial flights, but the largest corporate jets that fly can come in and out of that airport.
So this is mostly just private now?
Mostly private for now.
Okay.
And hopefully in the future we'll be in a position, down the road somewhere where we can get some shuttle flights in and out of here. But with that customs facility, you can clear customs right here in Montgomery County. So if you fly
and
in,
that's a big help because
it's
that takes
huge.
a horrendous amount of time
A lot
to
of
do
the
that.
corporate, flights would have to go into Intercontinental or Hobby or somewhere else and clear customs and then fly in. Well, they can come straight here now and take care of that.
So another advantage of doing that is getting more corporate people in here to see our county, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that the bottom
That's
line?
the bottom
Isn't that where
line.
it goes?
That is a huge tool for us, an economic tool for us. And people ask all the time, why do you give these tax abatements to corporations? How does that help the little guy, the little business? How does that help me as an individual?
Right.
Let me put that in perspective for you. It's really pretty amazing. Just before J.R. Moore retired and then Tammy McRae became our tax assessor, Tammy's doing an awesome job, as did J.R. for many years. He did a survey, did a little review of our tax abatement plan. He took every business that's in Montgomery County because of a tax abatement and the dollars that they generate in tax revenues and set those dollars aside and did an analysis and said if you wanted to generate the same revenue to meet the needs of this county that we're generating with those companies, had they chosen to go to Fort Bend County or to Harris County or to Atlanta,
right.
wherever, if they weren't here, it would drive a 14-cent per hundred tax increase to the residential taxpayer to make up that difference. So is it important that we have corporate America here in Montgomery County? Absolutely. That's a 29% reduction in what would be our tax rate without those corporations. And they do three things for us. They broaden the tax base for the residential payer. They provide good quality job opportunities for the people that are here. And to a great extent provide traffic mitigation, because if people can work right here in Montgomery County, they don't have to get on 59 or 45 or 249 and go into Houston.
Well, then also with the other businesses here, it supports the fire service, the police departments, all of those things too, right?
When you see a broader tax base out there, a rise in that tax base, that means better funding for the schools,
all those things,
the
that we
hospital
need.
district, the fire departments, everyone, absolutely.
So it's a great
corporate
thing.
America is a.
So how does that? How is that affected or will affect East Montgomery County?
Well, when you hit it a while ago when you talked about what's going on.
There's a lot.
There's a lot going on. The new mall over there. It's going to be 1.5 million square feet.
Yeah,
that's huge. And the all of the business that will be driven because of the growth around that. The restaurants, the shops. The all of the other entities that will come because of that kind of commercial growth, the job opportunities that creates, the broader tax base that allows to help reduce the burden on the residential taxpayer. It's important. I saw a report the other day. It was actually from the Farm Bureau. They were comparing exempt property, but they did a comparison of residential taxes. They said for every dollar generated in residential taxes, there's about $1.16 to $1.20 service requirement for all those things I talked about earlier. Roads, courts, law enforcement. For every dollar generated in exempt property tax, timber exempt or agricultural exempt, there's about a 37-cent service requirement. For every dollar generated in commercial taxes, there's about a 29-cent service requirement.
Oh.
So it's very, very important that we have that commercial and corporate
that they come
growth.
in
Absolutely.
to our areas.
Absolutely.
Well, very good. I think that's what we need out there. So tell me, what do you see going on in East Montgomery County in the next 5 to 10 years in your little whatever you call that periscope that you can see through?
Years ago, my office was in Magnolia, and I would tell people, if you haven't been to Magnolia in a couple of weeks, come on back. It's changed. Same exact thing holds true for East Montgomery County. Every time I drive, now that 99 is open, you can get over to East Montgomery County really quickly from I-45.
Oh, yes.
It's really pretty amazing how that's opened. That will be a game changer for that whole southeastern part of Montgomery County. You're going to see tremendous growth in residential development out there. You're already starting to see that, especially along that 99 area. As that starts to open up, you'll see more commercial growth start to take place. You'll see just a huge, that whole area is going to explode and just flourish.
People just need to watch out.
The challenge there is, growth's going to happen. We know that. We're kind of in the crosshairs of it now. The question is it going to happen to us, or is it going to happen for us, depending upon how we embrace it? And if we embrace that growth and try to work with those developers and make sure growth happens in a positive manner, we can kind of help direct that, as opposed to just letting it happen and getting run over by it.
Correct. So how often are you out in East Montgomery County?
I'm out there.
Mr. Travels all over the county in events and things like that.
It is amazing. When you start trying to hit all the events that occur countywide, I'm in all parts of this county all the time.
You have to keep it on a schedule, right?
You do. It's very, very difficult, though, because there's any given night, there's 3 or 4 events that you could go to every single night of the week, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
And fundraisers.
And
all
and
kinds
political
of
events.
Sure.
And they're all very worthwhile events.
But you just can't. Everybody has the same 24 hours. You can only do what you can.
I told somebody the other day I passed myself on I-45 and didn't have time to wave. It's kind of how
right.
In the week nights and weekends get really even busier. I mean, I may go to 3 or 4 events on a Saturday, as do all of the commissioners. You'll see them at events all the time, because it's important to be a part of this community, all parts of this community, not just one area, because there, anything
people
that happens
can see you
positively,
out there and participate.
Yeah, and anything that happens positively in whether it's New Caney or Porter or Magnolia or Willis or the Woodlands or
right.
Conroe, it's all a benefit to Montgomery County.
I believe that to be true. I just came back from a high school reunion in California, and people have been hearing about things that's going on out there.
We're the 7th fastest growing county in the nation. We're on the map.
We are on the map. So we will be right back in a few minutes and continue and maybe find out a little bit more about County Judge Craig Doyal, what he has coming up in the future. Maybe what some of his biggest challenges are, having to do all these things. Oh, and he has a family too and a personal life, like we all do. So this is Margie Taylor. We are on EMC News, and we will be right back.
Lone Star Community Radio is FM. That's right. Set your radio dials and your button presets to Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, coming in June of 2016. To celebrate this edition and the addition of video versions of our talk and music shows on YouTube, cable TV, and Our City TV, we are offering special sponsorships rates, which include free audio spots that are played throughout our broadcast. Interested? Check out our sponsor rates for shows just like the one you're listening to online at irlonestar.com/sponsor, or call the station at 936-647-5747. Reaching the people of Montgomery County with Montgomery County's community radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Check out EMC News on Facebook. Like us to see more about coming shows and guests.
Hello, this is Margie Taylor. We are back on EMC News from downtown Conroe at Lone Star Community Radio. And we are going FM, just a little secret. We're going FM and we're going to have video of this show. So that's a cool thing. So if you want to be a sponsor, you want to be a guest on my show, you know what to do. You can call me at 936-828-6881, or you can go to irlonestar.com/EMCN for additional information. Of course, you can also check it out on Facebook at EMC News. We always put lots of information on there besides this podcast, which will be available later in the week in a couple of days, but we also have other relevant information. So we are back here with County Judge Craig Doyal, and so we've learned a lot about the budget and what a county judge does and all that. What do you have on the slate coming up going forward in your life? What events do you have coming up?
There's always a host of events. Tonight, for example, I'm going to a couple of different National Night Out events that are being celebrated tonight, I guess ahead of tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, we'll have a workshop for people to talk a little bit about the animal shelter. That's been a very hot topic for a while. People get very, very emotionally involved, as do all of us, when you're talking about dealing with animals. And I think that's an issue that we're going to have to be very mindful as we address it going forward, and make sure we're doing the right things there by all citizens and animals.
People's best friends.
Absolutely.
A lot of times.
Absolutely.
Loss of an animal
it's tough.
Is very devastating. It's worse than sometimes a person.
Our animals have always been rescues, and it's.
I know your wife Amy is very into that too, isn't she?
She loves animals every day. If she was here right now, she'd have dog treats in her pocket. I guarantee you, she always does. And so that's an issue that we're going to be very mindful of going forward. and making sure we get taken care of. We're looking at selling another round of bond issues to begin to address more of our road projects on a bigger level. So with that, probably right after the first of the year, we'll issue the second round of bonds to begin to address some of those projects. So there's always the immediate issues, things that are coming up in the near future, and then things a little bit further down the road. And
right.
Always looking at all points along the way.
Okay. Now, did you have your annual fundraiser?
No, we'll do that right after the first of the year. We normally do it in October.
November?
Because what happens, but in October you see a ton of fundraisers going on right before Christmas, and instead of trying to get right in that mix where there's one every night for a week, a fundraiser, that's a little tough to ask people. So we're probably going to wait till after the first of the year to do our next fundraiser. Okay.
So tell me a little bit about your biggest challenges and how the heck do you balance all this stuff with the county? And, you have a wife and you have children and you have a grandchild. I mean, how do you balance? I know for me it's difficult to balance things, and I don't have as much on my plate as you do. So how do you do all this? What is your biggest challenge?
It takes trying to find the best way to schedule everything and still meet the other obligations that I have.
Responsibilities.
The thing that I'm really proud of, and I mentioned earlier that my office is 2 blocks from the house my dad was born in.
That's neat.
I'm 4th generation here in Montgomery County. It means something to me to be the county judge. It's not just a job. I mean, I graduated from Conroe High School. My dad did. My grandmother did. All of my kids went to school in Montgomery. I have a granddaughter now that's in Montgomery ISD, and so it means something to me. And I want those kids that are coming up to have the same opportunities that I had. I want Montgomery County to continue to grow in a very positive way, so that the opportunities that I saw as a child and had as a young adult and now into my career are still here. And I want Montgomery County to be that place that other people want to come to and want to bring their families to and want to move their businesses to and want to grow and see what becomes of Montgomery County going into the future. And then trying to make all that mesh with taking time to go to events with my granddaughter. I'll try to get to her school for Grandparents' Day and for all kind of different functions.
That's important.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Is very important.
You have to do those kind of things.
That's got to be up there on the top somewhere as well.
It is, and I'm very fortunate. A lot of my family, my immediate family, certainly my wife, my daughter, my granddaughter, are very involved in political events, and so they come to all the functions, they come to all the fundraisers, they go with me to a lot of events. So we spend a lot of our
family bonding.
Family bonding is a lot of our time is spent doing public events, but together as a family, and then trying to find that quiet time alone, and still find time to do the things that I enjoy.
Do you read much?
I try to. It's just very difficult to find
like
the time.
For fun?
It's tough. I've spent a lot of time reading documents all day, and so. But
that's heavy, though.
It's heavy stuff. But to try to find that downtime and go do the things that I enjoy, so that you can keep the batteries charged. Sometimes I think people, because you're an elected official, because you're in a public spotlight, they don't think you should have a public or a private life. But you have to.
But you can't function without that.
You cannot. You have to.
My thing is running. That's my thing, to get away.
Yeah.
What is your thing? How do you bring it down and relax so that you can recharge?
I like to play golf. And so on the weekends, I'll get out and play golf. We're playing a lot of charity events, that benefit functions around the county.
Are you doing Lobster Fest?
I'll be at Lobster Fest, absolutely. Okay. I still mow my own yard. That's one of those things that I like to do. I get out there and I can get behind that lawnmower. And
it's kind of cool going down the lines.
Well, it does.
I like
and
that.
You can kind of turn the brain off a little bit and sweat a little bit, and you kind of. It gives me a chance to do something physical where I can look back and just say I accomplished something today. Because a lot of times what I do at the office is administrative things that you don't see an immediate result for, and you work and work and work and work. It's kind of like the old diamond cutter. You chip and chip and chip away till finally something appears along, and something may appear even after I've moved away from it. And so sometimes
you don't get immediate gratification.
You don't get immediate gratification a lot of times. And so just trying to find a way to balance the mental effort that I put forth and keeping myself in some kind of physical shape.
So knowing that what you're doing is going to make it better for your family, your granddaughter, for future generations, that's what kind of motivates you, because you're homegrown, so to speak.
And I love the fact that my family can still be here generations to come, and Montgomery County will still be a great place to be.
Very nice. Well, anything else you would like to tell people?
Well, just
to
that
know you more, or anything
this is
else?
such a great place. I look around each and every day, and I see new faces and new people. It's kind of funny. I used to go to a restaurant, and I very seldom do I go sit down to eat dinner at a restaurant or go to the movies or go to the grocery store that I don't run into someone that wants to talk about politics or current events or something going on. I love that opportunity. It's getting, though, where now I can go places and not see people I know because there's a lot of new faces in
weird.
Montgomery County. It's really strange because before, everywhere I went, I saw people that I knew, good
Right.
friends, close friends, and it's really interesting to see the growth start to occur. It's kind of hard to get your hands around sometimes.
So how do people approach you besides Commissioner's Court? If somebody, and I'm not talking like at a restaurant or something, but if somebody wanted to get to you, could they go to your office and go through?
Absolutely. You can call the office. Our phone number is 936-539-7812 and talk to Patty or Sylvia.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be glad to set up an appointment with you. I keep an open door policy. I'll talk to anybody anytime.
So you're very approachable.
Oh, absolutely. No, don't ever hesitate to call anytime about any issue.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, this was County Judge Craig Doyal on our show on EMC News today, and we will have a podcast of this available within the next 2 days. So if you missed it, or if you just want to hold on to it and put it all over social media about how awesome this show is, feel free. And next Monday, we will have Jack Wiegett from Trinity Armory, and that's a family-owned and operated place that has an outdoor rifle range, indoor pistol range, a state-of-the-art training simulator with over 1,000 scenarios, including zombie attacks, and of course they sell all the firearms, supplies, and ammunition for most makes of the firearms. And what makes them unique is their facility is for law enforcement training as well. And that's in Cleveland. They just had a ribbon cutting a couple of weeks ago. We hope you have enjoyed the show today. I'd love to hear from you. Contact me via Facebook at EMC News or by email at margie@taylorispr.com. Thank you for listening. Tune in next Monday. And this half of the show was sponsored by Big Thicket Vet, who takes care of the big animals and the small animals. And yes, they make house calls. So you don't need to bring your horses or your donkeys in. And thanks for listening. This is Margie Taylor, EMC News.
Thanks for checking out this production on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, Internet, and TV media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production, produced by the show host and Dick Schisler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schisler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.